Good evening. So this is a slight introduction, a commercial break, and then we will talk about the experiential immersion. So welcome to the Saturday night life. Okay, how many of you have been to Bangkok for the first time? Can you raise your hand? Good. How many of you have been to Labua for the first time? Very good. All of you should be saying thank you to me after the speech. And I tell you why. There's a saying, and I didn't say that, one of the top travel publications said, when you visit Rome and you do not visit Vatican, it's okay. But when you visit Bangkok and not visit Labua, it's a sin. I have stopped all of you from committing the sin. Thank you. Okay, now how many of you here are from state of Florida? So I have written a book called A Bridge Not Too Far. And the book is more about experience over expertise. So I'm going to tell you a difference between expertise and experience. If you have an alligator running after you, which it does at 39 miles per hour, the expertise or the expert professors tell you, you have to run faster than alligator. But the experienced professors tell you that you have to run faster than your best friend. So that's the difference between expertise and experience. Now we are going to take a small commercial break because I was told that I can, with the Dean Hardin's permission, before I greet everyone. So this small commercial break is about A Bridge Not Too Far. A Bridge Not Too Far, coming soon on 10th January 2023. Please pre-order your copies. Okay, available at Amazon.com at $24.95. Thank you. So good evening, all of you. Good evening, Ambassador Godek. Good evening, Dr. Sipos. Good evening, Dean Hardin, who's actually hosting this dinner. And actually it's his dinner. And as like always, I am running the show. Thank you for allowing me doing. Dr. Anna, good evening. Dr. Kundu, Dr. Newberry, and Jillian, who has worked very hard. So we give all of them a big hand. And great thing about Ambassador Godek is that he came into Thailand 1.5 weeks back and he accepted the invite of Dean Hardin. So please give us a big hand. Thank you. Thank you. I was told to give a speech. We have been to 3 companies and we have been to Wat Po Temple. There was no way I could have done better than Telenor, Thai Airways, even Sinthon, which is a part of Crown property, and the monk at the Wat Po Temple. And I was very nervous, and that's why I didn't join all of you for the day trip. And I didn't know what to say. But when we left Thai Airways office, where I don't like this gentleman, Mr. Kittipong, who gave such a great speech, he's here. Professor Irina asked me one thing. And that gave me an idea that how I should be articulating the whole speech and talk about experiential immersion. She came to me and asked me, she saw this flower at the Wat Po Temple and she asked me, what is the meaning of this flower? I don't know how many of you have read this book called Die Empty. Because I want to die empty. Because the most expensive real estate in the world is graveyard. Because we never share our thoughts and we keep our thoughts in our mind and that's where we take it with us. And that's why it is the most expensive real estate. And when she asked me that question, I said, wow, that's a great question. And why it is a great question? Because that is where the immersion starts. And immersion starts with happiness. That flower motif is on the bottles of champagne. It is at the mosque, every church, every temple, whether it is Buddhism or whether it is Hindu or wherever. That flower is everywhere. And that is something which is a common link. And what does that signify? that signify at the root is a happiness, which is the map of the mind. And how do you bring happiness to a business? And at the top, when the flower is booming, it is a business which is the expression of the mind. And that's what that flower signifies. And thank you, Professor Irina, for mentioning that and making this speech and the understanding of this whole experiential immersion easy. So I'm going to talk about immersion first, then I'm going to talk about experiential, and don't worry, I'll talk about myself also. That is Deepak. Okay, so what is immersion? We went to Thai Airways office. My friend Kitipong, means great gentleman. He spoke about 3 B's. There's no way I can explain better than what he explained. And I'm not going to explain that. But what I'm going to tell is how we can use 3 B's for a better happiness. And how? Happiness starts with 3 things, and the first thing is a belief, the 3 B's. When we compare ourselves with the animals, animals don't have belief. Because animals always look at things in a very measurable manner. This person is my friend, or this person is my lunch or dinner. Okay, so for human beings, belief is why? Because that shows the intent. Then comes the behavior. How we articulate our behavior. And what is behavior? Behavior is how. And it is measurable. And what it says, it is a task. Why it is a task? Because we can improve our behavior. We can change, we can improve. We can come and improve our standards. The third is a business. Business is always work, and it is a target. Six months back, I like to collect. I don't know how many of you are collectors here. What do you collect, Bill?
Magnets.
Magnets. And you, Kevin?
Baseball cards.
Okay, and Jillian? Coins. I collect designations. I'm the CEO, I'm the Chief Happiness Officer, I'm the Advisory Board, I'm the Executive Chairman, I'm the Executive in Residence, any designation. 7 months back, I added one designation called Chief Happiness Officer. And it is an unusual designation, but it was very deliberate. It was done deliberately. And why it was done deliberately? So that everybody can see how critical happiness is in our lives. Then someone asked me a question, that if you talk about happiness, what is happiness? Where it comes from? Is it spiritual? Is it a belief? Or it is a mythology? And I said, happiness is within us. And you know what the person asked me, then why do we need you? Because I'm the Chief Happiness Officer. If the happiness is within us, then why do they need me? So I said, have you ever been to any part of the world and rented a car? They said yes. And I said, do you take the GPS? He said yes. So I said, why do you take a GPS? He said, so that I don't lose the way and reach on my destination on time. So I said, I am the GPS of happiness. Because I'm going to take you on a right path and tell you how to have happiness without going to any temple, without going to any wellness center, without doing meditation. And what you only need is a focus. When I was writing my book, I was not able to focus. So I asked people, and many people I asked, what is focus? And I have a coach also, and she is based out of Hong Kong. She said, Deepak, you need to do meditation. I said, wow. I said, how much time will it take for me to learn meditation? She said, 6 months. And I said, what's the guarantee that after 6 months I can focus? She said, 50-50. Now it's a real thing. So I said, how do I focus? Because 6 months my book will be delayed. What do I do? And then there's a Mahabharata. And I'm very lucky that I'm one of the person who introduced Mahabharata 15 years back to Harvard Business School. So one of the chapters of Mahabharata, it says and that is the gentleman in character is Arjuna. He was told by Lord Krishna, who is the Indian god, that be conscious of your weaknesses. And once you are conscious of your weaknesses, you will be able to focus. And that day and today, I have not looked back. I don't do meditation. I'm not against people who do meditation. I don't go to anything. I'm able to focus very well what I'm doing by being conscious of my weakness. And my biggest weakness today is champagne. And I have kept a glass of water. I said, I'm not going to get distracted. So now we will talk about experiential. Now we'll get a little bit serious. So we went to DTech, Telenor, my friend Rajiv is here, and I learned something about this company Telenor, that they use their expertise to enter a certain market, and then they use their experience to expand the business. And different markets, they're using different experiences and different customer profiles, and they do things differently. That was 40 years back, and this is a very important story. I was not very good in studies. So half of my story is because of me, because I was not good at anything. So one day, I think I did something. You can check with me after, but not on the record. And they said that they are going to send a red card to my house. And red card means not like a soccer club. They show the red card, right? So they said they'll send the red card to my house, and my father has to come to the school. So I spoke to the olden days, it's not no emails, no SMS. So I gave an advance gratuity to the postman. I said, if you see anything red, whatever it is, give it to me. Don't send it to my house. And he agreed, we signed, we shook hands. It was a great handshake, firm handshake. So one day I entered the house and my father started yelling. Two things happened to me. I learned that the earth revolves at a slow speed because my head started spinning. Second thing, instead of apologizing to my father, I said, how did you know? Because I felt cheated. Because I think that postman took the money from me but delivered the red card. So he showed me a white card. On top of that it was printed red card. But that thing gave me a very powerful message. And exactly 40 years back, I'm 54, I was 14-year-old. And that gave me a very powerful message that colors don't matter. Message and messengers matter. And I learned that message and 40 years back. So that is something about experiential. Few of the professors came to me and said, Deepak, you must be an amazing person. So I was like looking at, what have you been drinking? But anyway, so they said, you have been amazing because we went to Synthon. And they said, Deepak is a great, Labo is a great company. Please start eating because I am fasting. So, bon appetit. So, an experiential thing, when we are in business, the happiness way of doing the business is not to put others down, elevate others. And that's what that Synthon group was doing and has been doing, to elevate others, give respect to others, so that happiness stays. So this is second experiential thing that is there, not talking about myself. So we have experiential, we have immersion, and Deepak Ohri. That's a part of book. So who's Deepak Ohri? So I learned this lesson 48 years back when I was 6-year-old. I grew up in a very humble background. It was a 3-bedroom house. Actually, it was one hall, but with the curtains, we made it a 3-bedroom house. And there was a small road, and across the road were big houses. And we were told, everyone who's staying in this side of the road, never to cross the road. Because we'll feel hurt, the people on the other side of the road may not speak to us nicely. I took courage and crossed the road. And when I crossed the road, I got two things. I drank my first Coca-Cola. I'm still very proud of that. Second, when I went to see the house, I was amazed that a bedroom had attached bath. And one innocent question I asked to the owners of the house, that can you just tell me that if you wake up from the bed, you can use the bathroom immediately, you don't have to stand in the queue? He said no, because this is exclusively for the person who is living in this bedroom. And I went back to my father and asked that what should I be doing to drink Coca-Cola regularly and have a bedroom with an attached bath. That was some time back. I have both of these things. Luckily, I have a bedroom with the attached bath. But if you ask me today, what do I need to do today? Today, I don't need to cross the road. I need to cross the continent. And the next experiential immersion program, we want to do it in Antarctica. And why Antarctica? Of all the places. That's a wish list. So Dr. Kundu and Dean Hardin, don't get worried. So it's a wish list. But why Antarctica? There has been a very famous explorer, Shackleton, if my pronunciation is right, and you can Google it. He said the best management lessons you will ever get will get it in Antarctica. Because everything happens, it happens that is not in the plan. That is lesson number one. Lesson number two, everything you're doing is full of failures. You will never be able to get what you have been trying to get. So it is full of failures. Third thing, what you will learn, unlike the case in Florida, if the alligator is running beyond you, is to trust your friends. So you have to keep two sets of friends. One, you have to learn to run faster when you're in Florida. Other, when you go to Antarctica, trust them. So these three things are very important things in life to have happiness. And why? Why not entrepreneurship? Why not the MBA course? Because today in the world, I come from India. Now, India education system is based on Greek mythology and biblical things, where our politics, our business, our work is all based on that. But you know why there is a rise of right wing in India, not globally? Because Indians are not part of that. We have not accepted that. And that is a bridge, as professors, we have to create by understanding the culture. And that is the reason we are in Thailand. We are not in Thailand because we will take our textbook and teach people here. We are here to understand the difference in the culture and how do we bridge that gap and give that kind of education to the people from the different parts of the world. When a Thai student goes to US, and in Thai culture there's a word called krengjai, meaning being polite, we think the student is not doing well. The professor is already, not everybody speaks like me, right? So I'm also not doing well because I talk too much. That person does krengjai, doesn't talk too much. We need to understand the cultures. And if we use the uppercase culture, we have to understand that as an adjective. And that is a bridge that is not too far, but we need to create that bridge to give that kind of respect to the people. And I'm not trying to talk about my book, but there's one good thing about the book. And I asked somebody and he answered me. It's actually a very, when I was writing my book, everybody said, even I won't read it. I said, fair, I didn't read it. Until I got a Kirkus review, which mentioned also that this book is everyone's story. It is a story of 6 billion people, and today as I'm talking, the population is 8 billion, maybe 2 or 3 has added because the time that has taken. But there are only 2,668 billionaires. We talk about them, we read about them. But how many of us of 8 billion can be part of that 2,668? So I spoke to Dr. Kundu, who also heads the cyber section, and thanks to him and his team we are here. along with Gillian. So I asked him, would you read these kind of books? He said, no. So I said, why? He said, that environment is different. We had that discussion on the first day. So he said, I'll read that book which has this environment. We all went to J5, the lady. Her story is more powerful than my story. But she is not ready to tell her story. My story is not powerful. My story is one of many stories. But there are very few people who tell their story. And when they tell their story, it is our job that that story has to be read by everyone. So this is about Deepak Ohri. Now what does these stories and experiential immersion do to all of us? Or actually have done to our business? I've been asked this question, why you hire people who are so passionate? We don't hire passionate people. We only hire people who dream. And the only one question I ask to assess what is their ability to execute the dream. Today we are 250 meters up, standing here, but we have only got 4 stars in our hand. We are still partnering with Thai Airways to make sure that we fly 30,000 feet and grab more stars. We have 8 more stars to grab. But we know the endurance of the pain that takes more than a person on the ground floor. Even so high, it is not easy to stand here. But it's still not easy to grab those 8 stars. And with this, I'm going to end my speech and call the team at Labua, including the food, beverage and hotel under the leadership of Angie and Rajan, who have done this immense work and who continue to work hard to give us these stars. And more than the stars, I see a lot of stars which are sitting on the table. Thank you so much. And please, let's recognize the team who have worked so hard. So maybe the team can come here. Thank you so much. Everybody comes here. So this is Judy, this is Sarah, Kurnitya, the executive housekeeper, Rajan, the cluster vice president, Lakhna, our head of security, IT, Ankon, Tong, Gaurav, our mixologist, and our stars that are coming from there. Chef Bonsom Theory, Chef Stefan, Chef Guillaume, Max the sommelier. And we are the only hotel in Thailand to have 2 2-star restaurants here. But we are still not satisfied. We want to have 8 more. Thank you so much and thank you team.